access control list. It is also, we can say, ACL. This ACL we use to secure our network. We can secure our network by using the firewalls or parameter routers. Now, what is this parameter firewall and internal routers? So first place, there are basically few types of parameters router standard whereby each of them suits differently depending on the size of the corporate network, and each standard also provides different level of protection against network attacks. So the standalone parameter router basically means having a router which is placed between the outside network, which is global, and internal network, which is local. So the router does basic filtering of unwanted traffics and provides minimal protection for the internal network. So we can put this parameter router in between, as you can see in this image, in between from the global network, that is internet, and from the internal network, which is our local network. And on this parameter routers we can configure the rules, and we can configure that access control list, which contains the rules to allow only the traffic which we trust, and the traffics which we don't trust, we can deny those traffics by using the access control list. This is called standalone parameter router. This is the standalone topology for the parameter router, where we have a single router, and it is router who is working as a firewall and blocking the unwanted traffics. The next standard will be the parameter router with standalone firewall. The parameter router will again be placed between the outside network, which is global, and internal network, which is local. On top of that, there will be a firewall placed just before the parameter router within the internal network. And the firewall provides greater protection of flexibility, such as having packet filtering, stateful filtering, application layer filtering, and NAT, which is suitable for medium to large business network. And this is the topology for parameter router and firewall topology. This is we use for the big and large network with two small network, we can say medium to large network, where we have a router, parameter router, and then after the parameter router we have a firewall, a separate firewall protecting our internal network and our DMZ zone. Now this DMZ zone is called demilitarized zone. Now this zone we use to put the servers, only the servers which can be accessed from internet. That means if we want to put a server, we want to put a web server, or suppose a mail server for the users who is coming from internet. So those servers we put into this DMZ zone. Now this is the servers which can be accessed from internet. After that we have one more firewall, and after that we have our corporate network, and in this corporate network we have those servers which we use for only internal use, so that we can separate our network with the external network. So anyone who's if any attacker trying to get the access, so they can get the access till this web server which is already available for public. So they cannot get into the server which is for the internal network and which has some sensitive data. So this can be called parameter router and firewall topology, where we have firewall including we have parameter routers, with that we have firewall also, where we can get more detail in, we can configure more detailed rules for our network traffic. Then next last standard that will have at least 3 layers of protection. Previously in the second standard we saw that we have 2 layers. Now here we have 3 layers of protection: the parameter router, a standalone firewall, and internal router. The internal router is to provide mitigation function of the network in case trusted network inside had been compromised to prevent spreading of the attack to DMZ site. So on top of that, the router also provides better routing options, thus improving the performance of the network also. And it could be like this, where we have parameter routers, then firewall, and then inter-router topology. So we have these parameter routers in between global internet network and our local corporate network. And then after that we have one more firewall which is connected to the DMZ zone, and after that we have one more router which can be also work as a parameter router, where we can configure the security rules by using the access control list. And after that we see our corporate network. So it will be secured by more than 3 layers. So if anyone could have get access the DMZ zone servers, which is for available for the internet users, then still they cannot enter into our local network. For that they have to pass again one more firewall, we can say. So these are the type of firewall and parameter routers design we have. We can use for medium to large network or for small network. If you have a small network, then you can go with this normal standard, where we have only parameter router, where we can configure the rules of security ACL rules, access control list rules, to protect them, protect to the untrusted traffics. And then if we want, then we can go for the more complex network, where we can have 2 layers of security after the parameter routers, where we can configure the ACL rules. Now ACL rules only do what? Packet filtering. Packet filtering based on source and destination address and port number. But if we want more detailed protection, then we can go for the advanced firewalls. That we can do what? We can give more advanced protection. So we can have these design, or we can have more 3 layers of design, where we can have more protections. Now we will see the ACL now, access control list. Now an ACL, that is access list, that is also called access control list, is a list of statements that are meant to either permit or deny the movement of data from the network layer and above. So it is just a list where we have multiple statements regarding the network traffic, whether we want to permit the traffic or we want to deny the traffic. So they are used to filter traffic in our network as required by the security policies, like whatever the security policy we have, like which we want to allow which traffic and we want to deny which traffic, what is the trusted network we have. So these are the defined security policies we have, and based on that we can create the statements and rules. So the use of ACL is crucial to network security, and we will learn how we can implement this to enhance the security. Now first thing is packet filtering. So filtering of packet is a way to check the incoming packet and outgoing packet against the criteria, so as to determine whether they should be forwarded or dropped. So packet filtering basically means what? Checking all inbound and outbound traffic, the traffic which is coming in or the traffic which is going out. Now we think about this as a router. When we say about in or out, that means we are talking about what? Our internal network from router. So what the traffic can come into the network, our local network, and what traffic can go out of your network, and that basically from router. So we can say what traffic can into the router and out of the router. So it will do what? It will filter based on the criteria which we decide. Now this is usually accomplished by a router, and routers forwards packets based on the layer 3 information. So when we apply filters, the router examines this information and decides whether the packet can be traversed the network or not, and if a packet passes the set criteria, it is forwarded, and if not, it is dropped. The criteria used by the router to determine whether the packet can be traversed the network are made by the configuring ACL. Now with access list, we can filter traffic based on what? Destination and source address. Destination and source layer 3 addresses, destination and source port number, as well as the protocol in use. So these ACLs can do filter the traffic based on these criteria like source and destination address, also source and destination port number, and also the protocol in use. Protocol in use like TCP or UDP, which is the transmission protocol. Now ACL concept. The ACL is usually what is a script that is executed on the router to check the packets based on the specified criteria. The access list configured on the router inspect packet against the rules that the administrator has set to determine so whether the packet should be forwarded or dropped. So the packets are inspected against the ACL criteria from the first to last configuration parameter in the ACL. Now below we see some of the guidelines that useful for configuring the ACL. So basically ACL is what? It's a list, it's a script runs on the router and checks the list of access which we create, which administrators create, and based on that it will do what? Allow or drop the data. Now before configuring the ACL, before creating the list, before creating the configuring filtering list, we have to make sure that we should follow these guidelines. For example, first, ACL should be ideally configured on the routers that acts as firewalls in your network. That means the parameter router or even a router can work as a firewall when we configure these rules on those routers. So we have to configure this ideally on the routers which we want to configure as a firewall and parameter router. Now ACL should be configured on the routers in your network to control access to sensitive information in a particular subnet. For example, an ACL may be configured to allow authorized access to the finance department network. So we can decide like which is the sensitive department, which is the sensitive subnet, and we want to allow or deny somebody to access those network. Then ACL should be configured on the edge of your network. For example, to separate traffic from the headquarters to the other branches. So we should configure it on the edge of the network. That means if you are having a headquarter and then you want to filter it on the branch office, so the edge of the network will be our branch office router. So maybe for branch office we will configure it on the branch office router. Now ACL should be configured to control traffic from the various protocols that you may have configured in your network, and they may be used to filter traffic that is entering or leaving the router. So whether the traffic is entering the router or leaving the router, so we can configure the rules on that. Now the 3 rules of configuring ACL. These are 3 rules which we have to configure the ACLs. So there are 3 cardinal rules that should always be observed when configuring ACL. These rules determine how traffic on a router on a network will flow, and therefore they should not be ignored. First, ACL per protocol. That means this is the control each of the protocol that you may have configured on your router. So we can create ACL based on the each protocol. Then ACL per direction. So there are 2 directions in this case. One is inbound and the other is the outbound traffic. So inbound traffic is the traffic that is coming into the router, while outgoing traffic is the traffic that is leaving the router. So remember, you have to think like a router, and whatever the traffic what is coming into the router, that will call inbound traffic, and outbound traffic, that means which is leaving the router. So we can create the ACL based on these direction. whether we want to filter it outbound traffic or we want to filter inbound traffic. Then ACL per interface. This is meant to control traffic from leaving the router through a specified interface. So if suppose we have some interface and it is connected to some network, so we can decide like whether the traffic should come into that interface or should leave to that interface, and we can specify it. Based on that we can specify the rules. Now the ACL work by doing the following. So how the ACL work? It do blocking the specified traffic so as to enhance the performance of the network. Provide security by blocking package destination to sensitive areas in your network. Determines the type of traffic to forward based on protocols. And denying the certain users access to the internet while allowing others. Now in this case, when we talk about users, so it is not accessing any user information. It is not creating any list based on users. It is basically creating the list on IP addresses, because source and destination, only source and destination IP address it knows. So when we talk about users, that means any host machine, and host machine, that means on that host machine whoever logs in. So whether you want to allow that host machine or not allow. So that is based on what user we can say. So how this ACL work? ACL operation works governed by these are set administrator rules, and when the packets comes into the router, the header is inspected for certain information that determines whether the traffic is forwarded or dropped. So whenever any traffic comes to the router, and it will be inspected for the header for some information, determine some information, certain information, whether the packet should be forwarded or dropped. Now the routers only check the traffic that is sent through them and not traffic that is originated by the router themselves. This is important. It will not check the traffic which is originated from router itself. That means suppose if this client or this host machine wants to send any data to this machine, now that means the traffic is originating from this host. So we can say this is the data, this is the machine who is originating the traffic or creating the traffic, and the traffic is going through the routers, these two routers, and then it will reach to this host. So it can filter the traffic which is coming or originating from another host. But if the traffic is generating from router itself, for example, we go to this router, we open the command prompt and we try to do the telnet access to other router, or we can do telnet to this switch, telnet or SSH, or even we can do telnet to any other server also. Now in this case what happens, the traffic is originating from the router itself. So this router will not do the filtering job for that because it is originating from itself. So it will not be filtered by this router. Now it will pass from this router, so this router can filter it, and that is what it wants to say there. One more thing, when data is going from one server or one machine to the other machine, that means when data is going from this machine, so suppose this is the packet which is going here, so we see in the source part of the address you will have the address of this machine. So we can say that this is our source, and in the destination part you will have the IP address of this machine because the data is going to this machine. So we can say this server or this machine is our destination. Now for configuring the ACL, this is very important to understand who is the source and who is the destination. So the traffic who is sending the traffic, that will be the source, and the destination will be the machine who is going to get the traffic. So remember this, source and destination. This is very important to understand the access list and to configure the access list. So very much you have to understand this, that who is the source and who is the destination. Now in case suppose I am sending something to all these network. So this machine is sending some data to all the machines here in this network. So this will be source and the destination will be the whole network. So this is important to understand source and destination. Now there are two directions in which ACLs can be configured, inbound and outbound. So there are two directions where we can configure the traffic, inbound or outbound. For example, in this case, suppose this server or this client wants to access this server. Now the traffic will go from here and then it will go from here and then it will go from here to this machine. Now remember, the traffic is going from this server or this machine, so this is our source, and the traffic is reaching to this machine, that means this is our destination. Now when you see it goes from here, so it will in to this router 1, the data, the traffic will be into this router from this Ethernet port. So if I want to filter this traffic, so I can configure it on this interface, and that will be called inbound traffic. So if I want to block here, then I will do what? Configure the traffic for inbound. Now the data, the traffic is going out from this interface here. From router 1, it is getting out from this serial interface. So if I configure the rule or for the rule for the ACL, so if I configure on this interface, that means it will call outbound. So it will be outbound for this interface. For this interface, it is called inbound traffic, and for this interface, it will call outbound traffic. So we can configure the the ACL for the inbound traffic or for the outbound traffic. Now both is same, like I only want to block this from 10.0.0.1 to 30.0.0.2. I want to block the traffic. So if I configure on this fast Ethernet port, it will be configured as a inbound traffic filtering. If I configure on serial interface, so it will call what? Outbound traffic filtering, because the data is going in from this interface and getting out of this interface. If I configure the rule on this serial this router 2, so this serial interface will be work as a inbound traffic, because the data is getting into the router from here, and this fast Ethernet port will act as a outbound traffic, because the data is getting out from here. So this is what inbound and outbound. So there are two directions in which ACS can be configured, that is what? Inbound or outbound. So whether you can configure it on inbound direction or outbound direction. So if you configure it on inbound, that means with this type of ACL, the router checks the traffic that it received from an interface against the configured ACL before it can determine whether to route the traffic or not. So for example, we have seen when data enter into the interface fast Ethernet, and if we have configured the ACL for that inbound traffic, the router will do what? It will inspect the packet whether it can be forwarded or not. This type of ACL is important since the router does not waste CPU cycles by processing the packet that would eventually be dropped. And the figure shows here, this is the figure shows the operation of inbound ACL, and when the packet are received on the router interface, they are inspected against the ACL, and the packet header is checked to see if it matches the set criteria, and if it does not match any criteria, it is assumed that the router should not forward the packet and it is dropped. For every criteria, there is a decision that is made whether to forward or deny access. Each packet that is permitted is allowed to be processed by the router and forwarded towards the outbound interface. Now, benefit of this inbound filtering means what? The router does not have to process the data. It will just process the rule, ACL rule, and then it will drop the data. That means when the data get into this port here, fast Ethernet port, and I have configured the traffic inbound traffic filtering. So whether it is entering it here, now it is not filtering it is not processing the data. That means processing means router's job is to process the data and forward the data according to the routing table. Now for that it has to process the data, and then it has to check the routing table and all that. Now when you have configured the traffic filtering on inbound, so as soon as it enters the traffic, then the router will do what? It will check the rule whether it is matching or not, and if it is matching rule, then whether it is to allow or deny. So router don't have to process the data for routing. It only checks the rules for the ACL, and it will do what? Whether to forward or not, it will take the decision on that time. So how we do that? We can see this image here. For example, packet enters the router's interface with access group. So when it enters here, so first test passed. Now it will check the first statement from the ACL. Now if the first statement matches the rule, matches the packet, for example, I said I want 10.0.0.1. I want to make the first statement for 10.0.0.1. Now if it is matches, then yes, then it will check whether it is deny or permit. So whether I will make the rule like 10.0.0.1 is deny. So if I say deny, then it will deny it and packet will be discarded. It will drop the packet. Now if in case I permit it, then what? Packet can go to exit the interface, and then it will go and exit the interface, and it will enter to the router, and then router will do the decision and process the packet and do the routing. Remember, it is inbound. Now if the first statement does not matches, then it will look for the second statement. So whatever the second statement I have configured, it will test, and whether if it is passed, then it will check whether it is to deny or permit. If deny, discard the packet. If allow, then exit the interface. Now if the second statement does not match again, then it will go for the final test. Like final test, for example, we can have multiple statements, so it can check all these statements. Now suppose it reaches the final statement. Now it checks again, and now if yes, then check permit and deny. So deny means discard and permit means enters the packet into router, and it will process for the routing table. Now if the final statement is also not matched, remember, if suppose some data came and that I have not mentioned in any list, I have not mentioned it in the list, so what it will do? For example, suppose you are arranging a party and you have created the list of guests. Now you have created the list of guests, that means you will allow only the guests which you want to allow, and which you don't want to allow, you have added the names also there, that if this person comes, then don't allow him to enter. Now suddenly some person came on the gate, and that the person name is not in the list, not in the deny list and not in the permit list. Now what you will do? Do you allow this or do you deny this? That means what? Maybe you don't know the person, because that is why there is no name in that list. That means you don't know the person. So unknown person, you should not allow them. What you will do? You will deny them, and that it will do also the same thing. So if any packet comes which does not match any statement of the list, then it will do what? It will do implicit deny. Implicit deny all. Now this deny all entry, it says deny all. Whether it is anything, it will say deny all. It is called implicit deny all. This entry will be there, but it will not show. So if we check the list entries, when we check the access list, this entry will not show. It is by default configured. When as soon as we configure the list, it is there and it says implicit deny. So if any statement does not match any condition, then what it will do? It will deny all. And deny all means it will discard the packet directly. This is for inbound traffic, and if we go for outbound traffic, it is the same thing. It is the same thing, and again it do the same thing here. With this type of ACL, the packets are usually processed and forwarded to the outward ACL for filtering. Now in this ACL, the router first checks in its routing table to see if the packet has a destination, and if the destination is not in the routing table, the packet is dropped. And the second thing the router inspects is whether the outbound interface has an ACL, and if the interface does not have any ACL for the packet, it is forwarded finally. For packets that have an ACL that is bound to the outbound interface, they are inspected by the ACL group statements to see if they match any criteria, and if they match any criteria, the router decides whether to forward or drop the packet. And if they do not match any criteria and the ACL does not permit them, they are dropped. So simple. Here in this case, in outbound traffic, that means, for example, we configure the traffic on the outbound port. In this design, for example, I configure the ACL for this outbound port and outbound traffic. So what happened here? Data will enter the router first. Router will first check the routing table that whether it has any information for the destination network or not. Now if it is not having any information on the routing table, then simply it will say no route, destination unreachable. But if it has an information, then after processing the packet, it will say what? Let's check, is it any ACL configured on this interface or not. Now if in this interface any ACL configured, then it will start checking the statements of those interface, whether it is permit or deny. And if it is permit, then it will allow the traffic to go, and if it is deny, then it will drop the packet. In this case, it will process the packet for routing table, and it will process the packet for routing. And this is what the same thing, when packet incoming, the packet entry in the routing table, first it will check the routing table, and if the routing table has an entry, then it will go forward. Otherwise it will say if the entry is not there in the routing table, directly the packet will be discarded. But if the routing table is having the entry and it is clear, then choose the outbound interface. Based on the routing table, it will choose that outbound interface. Now on that outbound interface, it will check whether we have ACL on that or not. If yes, then test the packets, and if no ACL, then directly permit the packet and the packet will be forwarded. And if the ACL is there, then it will test the packets like the same way here, statement wise 1, 1, 2, 1, first, second, third, and finally implicit deny if it is not. And after testing, it will permit the traffic. If it is permitted, then it will be forwarded, and if it is not permitted, then it will be dropped. So we can configure the ACL on the interfaces, outbound or inbound interfaces. These are like the gates of our network, our router, and from there the data can go in and out, and we can configure our ACL based on that inbound and outbound interface. The implicit deny all statement. Now when configuring ACL, it is important to note that the end of the ACL, the router makes a decision, and if the packet has been checked against all the ACL statements and it has not matched any criteria, the router will drop it. And this is because the router assumes that the only traffic that should be allowed is the traffic that matches one of these statements in the ACLs. To avoid filtering traffic that does not match any of the ACL statements, the command permit any should be used to allow traffic that does not match any ACL but should traverse the router. So if you want to allow all the traffics apart from the ACL statements, then you have to give this permit any option. Otherwise it will permit deny all. It will deny all is already there, and it will deny everything which is not matching the list. So list is what this ACL is, what it is actually access list. It's a list where we create the statements. Now only creating the list will not help. You have to apply the list on the interfaces. So after creating the list, you have to apply those lists on the interfaces. So whether you apply on inbound interface or outbound interface. So you can apply those lists on the interfaces based on inbound or outbound traffic. And then whenever your data or traffic goes in or out from those interfaces, the ACL will be checked and it will decide based on that ACL that which traffic is to be permitted or which traffic is to be denied. Now remember one more thing important. If suppose this is the interface and I configure this interface, I configure the ACL. Now ACL, where you will configure the ACL? So you will configure this on this router. So I created the list here in this router. Now I can apply the list on these two interfaces. These are the gates, this fast Ethernet and this serial interface. So these are the gates I have. Either inbound or outbound traffic are coming and going from here. So I can configure, I can apply the list on these two interfaces, either on this or either on this. Now remember, if I configure on this interface and I say filter all inbound traffic, now that means router will filter only inbound traffic. That means if the traffic comes into this interface, only then router will check the ACL to allow or deny. Now if any traffic going out of this interface will not check. That means if any traffic goes out from this interface, it will not be checked because I have configured the list for inbound traffic. If I configured here for outbound traffic, that means only it will check the list when the traffic goes out of this interface. But if any traffic coming into this interface will not be checked. So whether you apply inbound traffic or outbound traffic, so it will check only that particular traffic. So for example, on fast Ethernet, if I apply outbound traffic, then it will only apply the ACL for outbound traffic. It will not use that ACL for inbound traffic. So inbound traffic will not be filtered, only outbound traffic will be filtered. So when we go to apply the ACL, then we have to make sure that we apply the list on proper interface and in proper way, whether we want to apply it on outbound or inbound traffic, and that we have to be careful when we apply the list. Otherwise the list will get failed and the devices will keep accessing the other devices, and you will say like, why it is accessing, why it is still accessing, I have created the list, I have blocked everyone, but still they are accessing, because you have not applied properly. Next we have different type of ACLs. So now when thing comes to creating the ACL, so we have different type of ACLs and we can create. The first type we have numbered and named ACLs. Now numbered access list is assigned a unique number among all access lists, but a named access list is identified by the unique name. So we can create number list or we can create name list also. Now numbered list means if we create number list, so we will create it with the number, and if we create the name list, then we will create the name list with the name. We can give any name, but number, there is a limit for the number, because we have two types of list, which is standard or extended list. So either we create number list, so we can create standard, or we can create name numbered list. So we can create standard number list or we can create standard name list, and also we can create extended number list or we can create extended name list. So both standard and extended, this is the basic type, but the creating type is number or name. So if we want to create the standard list and if we want to create number standard list, then we have a number from 1 to 99, and the extended range is 1300 to 1999. This is numbers is for the standard list. That means when you create a list and you give any number from 1 to 99, router will automatically detect that you want to create the standard list. And if you create the extended list, and if you use number from 100 to 199, or extended range is 2000 to 2016, say 2699, then router will automatically detect that okay, you want to create extended list. Otherwise you can give the name directly. So standard access list can be used filter traffic only based on the source IP address of the IP datagram packet. An extended access list can be used to filter the traffic based on source IP address, destination IP address, protocol, TCP, UDP, and port number, etc. Now these are the different type of list which we have, standard and extended. Now they work differently. Normally standard list only used to filter the data based on source address. It will not check any other information. It will check only the source information, source IP address, and it will decide whether it is to be allowed or denied. But extended list do what? It can check source and destination address both. Also it can check whether it is TCP or UDP data, transmission data, or also it checks the port number. Now this above table means that if you want to create a standard access list, you can use the number from 1 to 199, extended range is 1300 to 1999, and if we want to create extended list, so the number range from 100 to 199, or the extended range is 2000 to 2699. Now what is the difference between these two lists? Now what is extended and standard and extended do? These lists do. So first, standard list. Now standard list do what? It will filter only based on source address. Now in this example, suppose this is the client here. Now this is the client, and here I have a server. Now I want to block this client to access this server. Now how it do access? Whenever this client access the server, it sends the data request from here, and it will reach to this server here. So in this case, remember I told you what? You have to understand source and destination. So in this case, this client will be considered as a source, and this server will be considered as a destination. Now if I configure the standard list, so what happened? It will only check the source address. For example, I configure the standard list on this interface. So when we configure it, and I said inbound, remember when this source try to access this destination, it will enter from this interface to router 1. So I have configured the list here on router 1, and I have applied it here on this interface as a inbound traffic, ACL for inbound traffic. Now what happened? When we configure it standard, then what it do? It will only check the source address. It will not check anything. So when the data comes into this interface, so it will check whether the source address is 10.0.0.1 or not. So if the source address is 10.0.0.1, then what it will do? It will match, and it will do what? It will check whether it's to deny or allow. So if I say deny, then it will directly deny here. So this is what standard list do. It will not check anything else. It will check only whether the source address is matching or not. Now if the source address matches, then it will finally check whether to allow or deny. Now in this case we have a problem here. What is the problem here is that we only want him, this 10.0.1, to block this, to deny this 50.2. But what is happening here, if this server, if this client try to access this 30, remember it is not accessing this 50.2, it is only accessing this, or anywhere, it wants to go anywhere else. It does not want to go here, but it want to go anywhere else. But if it access anywhere else, so whenever it sends data to any other machine, whether it is 30.1, 30.2 and even 50.1 and whatever, whenever the data goes from this interface and whenever the data enter this interface, it will do what? It will check the list. And what it will match? Only it will match what? The source address. Now if the source address says 10.0.1, then it will check whether it is denied or not. And if I have denied, then it will deny. Now what is the problem here? It is not checking the destination address, because it is not going, the data is not going for this. Basically the data is going for this one, but still it will be denied because the source address is matching. So actually if I deny this client 10.0.1, that means basically I am denying it for everything. It cannot do anything. That means it cannot, or never it cannot enter into this interface, because ACL says deny. That means this 10.0.1 will never enter this interface, and it will never allow to go outside anywhere here or anywhere. But this is how the standard list work. Now this list we use very rarely when we just want to deny somebody to all network. So we can use extended list. Now extended list do what? It checks source and destination address both. That means when I configure extended list here and I say this IP, source IP, and this destination IP, we will mention both source and destination. If this source and destination matches, then deny. Now in this case what happened? When this client try to access this 50.0.0.2, so the packet will enter into this interface. So router will check the ACL, and it will check for the statement called that match 10.0.0.1 source and destination 50.0.0.2. Now if the statement matches and if the packet is going from 10.1 to 50.2, then what it will do? It will deny. Now in this case it will deny. Now if the 10.2 machine is sending data to any other machine, for example this 30.2, so the data will go and enter into this interface. Now router will check the ACL and it will check for the statement. Now statement says if data is coming from 10.1 and going for 50.2. Now in this case the data is going for 30.1, so the statement will not match and it will check the other statement. Remember, we have to allow the other network also. If it is allowed, then what it will do? It will allow it to go. Now that means what? It will allow all the traffic for this network, this machine, like 10.1 can go everywhere, but it can only not allow to access this 50.2. And not even this, we can mention the protocol also. Protocol also, that means suppose I want to I have different protocols running on this server, like I have DNS server on this, I have DHCP server on this, I have web server on this, I have mail server on this, and also I have telnet server on this server. Now I just want to block the telnet, I don't want to block anything else. So also in extended list we can mention the port number. Port number, that means protocol. So if I want to block only telnet, then I will mention the protocol port number, that is 23. So I will make a statement called if source is 10.1 and destination is 50.2 and If the protocol is telnet, then deny. Now in this case what happened? If this 10.1 try to access telnet, try to do telnet to this 50.2, then the entry will match here in this interface and it will be denied. Now if the 10.1 try to access the web server of this website from this 50.2, so it will work on different port number 80. So the statement will be, it will check the statement that if 10.1 and 50.2 is telnet or not, and now if it is not telnet, it is for website, that is port 80, so it will allow the traffic, it will not block. So even not only this machine, for this machine not only other machines, other network is allowed, it can also access the same server and it cannot access a particular protocol or particular service. So it will not able to access telnet, but it can access other services if we want. So we can block all the services even, or we can block only one service from the server, and that is the benefit of extended list, and that is why it is called extended. So rarely we use standard list, mostly we use extended list. Now before configuring the ACL, we should understand what is wildcard mask, because when we configure the ACL, we have to mention the wildcard mask also. This wildcard mask we have also used in OSPF. OSPF compulsory, but in EIGRP it is not compulsory, but it is also available there. Now what this wildcard mask do? It is used in access list to identify or filter an individual host, a network, or a range of IP addresses, and in a network to permit or deny the access. So if suppose I want to allow the whole network, then I don't have to mention each and every IP. I can mention the network. And if suppose I want to deny a particular IP or particular network, then we can do it by using this wildcard mask. This is what we have to configure this wildcard also in ACL. Now when using the wildcard mask, if the wildcard mask has a 0 in a bit position, means that the corresponding bit position in the addresses of the access list statement must match the bit position in the IP address in the examined packet. So a 0 bit in the wildcard mask means that corresponding part in the IP address should exactly match the 1 bit, and exactly match, and 1 bit means that corresponding part in IP address can be ignored, just like what we have in OSPF or EIGRP. And some example of XCS wildcard is like this. So suppose we have IP address of the IP address of this, and I want to match the entire IP address. Remember, I am saying entire IP address. That means I don't want to allow this particular IP address. So what wildcard mask I will give here is 0.0.0.0, and that means what? First 0, that means I am saying the ACL that if the first part is 172 exact match, then second 0 means I am saying the second part must be 16. Third 0 means I am saying the third part must be 0, which I am mentioning here. Then fourth 0 means I am saying that must be 12. So after this IP, I will use this wildcard, and this wildcard means 0 means it has to be verified, it has to be checked, examined, and if I don't want to examine something, then I can use on bits, that is 255. Even we can mention it like this, or we can mention it like this also. So if you want to mention a single host, allow or deny, then we can mention IP with wildcard, which is 0.0.0, or we can go by this command host and the IP address. So whenever you use host command, then you don't have to mention wildcard, because the host means you are mentioning a single host. You are using the keyword host, that means you are mentioning single host, you are not mentioning anybody else. Now in this example, in this second example, if suppose I want to mention the whole network of this 172.16. So what I will mention here, 172.16.0.0. The wildcard will be 0.0.255. Now 255 means all the bits are on here. So that means here first zero means we have to examine the ACL. The router has to must have to examine this first part, and that must be 172. Then second zero says it has to examine the second part, must be 16. Then this 255 says that no matter whatever this third and fourth part will be, and whatever you will give here, it will be ignored. So it will match only first two part, must be 172 and 16, 172.16, and whether it is to allow or deny. So it will only allow this network. And if we have subnetted network, so the subnet mask, the wildcard mask will be according to that subnetted network we can create. So for how to specify the range of IP address in the network using ACL wildcard mask, so there are some examples here. Like for this, if this is the IP address 172.16.0.0, but it is subnetted with 24 subnet mask, that means it is subnetted. So this will be the subnet mask for 24, that means 888. First three part bits are on and this bit is 0. So what we have to do to get the wildcard mask, we have to just reverse it. So ones will become 0 and 0 becomes ones. So the wildcard mask will be like for this 11111111.0000, it will become 0000000.1111, and it will be like this. That means 0.0.0.255. That is 0.0.0.255. And for example, if our subnet mask is like this, which is subnetted, it is 172.16.240.0 and /20, and this is the subnetted mask for this 255.255.240.0. So you have to convert it into binary like this, like first part is on, second part is on, in third part we have 4 bits on and 4 bits 0, and then fourth part we have 0. Now we have to reverse it. So when you reverse it, it will become 000 first part, second part will be 0, all 0. Now third part we have 4 bits on, so it will become 0, and the rest of the 4 bits are 0, so it will become on, and dot, all the bits are on in the last 4 parts, and it will be like this. So 0.0.15.255, and this is the other examples. Now I can give you another way, that is, I can say very simple. You can just do whatever your subnet mask is, you can divide with 255.255.255, and you will get your subnetted mask. For example, let's take the example of this. Suppose this is my subnet mask here. So I want to get the wildcard for this subnet mask. So I will do what? I will minus this from default value, that is 255.255. So I will minus this from 255.255.255.255. So when I subtract this subnet mask from this default value, what I will get here, this 255.255 will remove, become 0. Dot, then this will also become 0. Dot. Now when you remove 240 from 255, you will get 15. Now when you remove 0 from 255, you will get 255. So it is the easy shortcut way to get the wildcard bit or wildcard mask, and this is the same we have here. This is another way to get the wildcard. This is a shortcut, we can say, to get the wildcard of any subnet. So this is our subnet mask, and to get the wildcard from this, I subtract it from 255.255.255. and after that what I will get the wildcard mask. So this is also a way you can get the wildcard mask. Now this is useful because this is what we are going to use when we configure the firewall, when we configure the ACL. Now where to apply, this is also very important, like where you will apply the ACL. Creating the ACL is okay, but where it is to apply, that is also very important. For example, I'll show you in the design. Now this is our design. Now for applying the ACL, remember you have to make sure that you understand source and destination first. You have to understand the source and destination first. So for example, I want to make a rule to block this host to access this host. So remember, this will be my source and this will be my destination. So first thing, you have to make sure that you know source and destination properly, so that you have to create the ACL and create the statement based on the host and destination. Now the next thing you have to understand is the way those lists work, standard and extended. Because of that, you can choose which list to be applied and where you want to apply and where you can apply those lists. So first, what standard list do? Standard list only mention, in standard list we only mention the source address. It will do filtering based on only source address. That means it will check only source address and it will not check anything else. And that means what it do actually, basically what it will block that source address for everything. That means that source address cannot access anything. It will be blocked. Everything will be blocked for that source address. Every network, every protocol, every service will be blocked for that source address. And that is why I told you that it is rare we use the standard list. Now the extended list, how extended list work? In extended list we can mention source address and destination address. That means it will help us to block from particular source to particular destination. That means it will not be blocked. The source address with the source machine will not be blocked for accessing any other network and any other machine. Then in extended list we mention the source port and destination port and protocol also. That means if we want to block only some protocol particular service from that destination machine, then we can do that by using the extended list. For example, if I want to block this source to access this destination only telnet service, telnet protocol, then I can only block telnet and other things will work and other things will always work same. So this is what extended list. Now if you are creating the standard list, so where you have to create the list and where you have to apply the list. Now remember, we create the list on routers, not on switches. We create those lists on routers. So we can create the list on router 1 here, on router 2 here, and on router 3 here also. Remember, this is my source and this is my destination, and I want to use a standard list. So I can create the list on either router 1, 2 or 3. Now where I can apply? So if I use to create the list on router 1, so I can apply on this interface of router 1. This is fast Ethernet port, or I can apply the list on this serial interface. Now if I use to create the list on router 2, then I can apply on this serial interface, this fast Ethernet interface, on this serial interface. If I create the list on router 3, then I can apply on this serial interface or this fast Ethernet interface. Now where we can apply the standard list? It is a simple, it is just a guideline. It is not a rule. It is just, we can say, the guideline. because you can assign it everywhere, anywhere. It will not give error. That means if you create a standard list, so you can create on router 1, 2 or 3, and you can apply any of these interface. It will not give any error, because it is not a fixed rule, it is just a guideline. But we have to make sure that we apply the list in a proper location. Otherwise the list will fail, and those machines will keep accessing the other network, or maybe it will not work, or maybe we can block, maybe we block the everything for that network, that source also. Now first, standard list. So guideline for the standard list is that we should apply the list nearest to the destination. That means if we are creating the standard list, so we should create the standard list on nearest router, and we should apply the list on nearest interface of that destination. Remember, I am saying destination. Now in this case, this is source and this is destination. So I am saying if I am creating a standard list, so I should create and apply on the nearest router and interface. So the nearest router and interface of the destination is this router 3. So I should create the list on the router 3, and the nearest interface for the destination is this fast Ethernet port. So I should apply on this. But remember, if I do apply it anywhere else, it will still work, it will still take it, it will not give any error, but the list will fail. Now how it will fail? Now for example, I created the list on router 3, but I applied it here on this interface, and on this interface, remember, if the data is coming from here and going to this destination, that means it will enter from here and it will exit from here. Okay, now if I apply it on this interface, now what happened? When the 10.1 try to access this 50.2, so the data will go from here, it will enter here, then it will exit from here, then it will enter here on this interface, then it will exit from here. Now it will enter on this interface. Now router will check the list. So when the data tries to enter onto in this router from this interface, so router will check the list. Now list is a standard, so it only mention that source IP address, that is 10.2. Now what it will do, it will match the list. If says 10.1 is there, then it will deny, it will not check anything else. So this server, this client will be denied here on this interface to enter into the router. Now that means it cannot go here and it cannot access this 50.2. But not only this machine, it cannot access the whole network here. It cannot access any of the machine here. So for this 10.1, the whole network will be blocked. And that means if suppose we have some other interface connected here and we have some other networks here, so that will also be blocked. That means from this side everything will be blocked for this 10.1, because we have applied it on this interface here. So it will be blocked. It will be blocked this network and also the other networks if we have in this side. So the whole network in the side will be blocked. Now that is not only the problem. If suppose there is another route from here and which is coming from this side. Now remember, we have applied on this interface here. We have not applied on this side interface. So what can happen, that this 10.1 can go from the other path and can enter the router from here, and when it is entering, it can go out from here and it can reach to this machine. So after some time you apply the list. After some time what happened, you will check that that 10.1 is still accessing that 50.2. so maybe it could be failed, or first thing that it will be blocked the whole network of this site. If suppose I create the list, standard list on this router 2 and applied on this serial interface, then again the same case, the whole network of this side will be blocked, and if it is having another path, then it can go from that side. If I apply on this interface, then it will never go for this interface. Remember, the data is going from this interface to this interface. It is not coming on this interface. So list will never be used for it, and it will still access the data. The 10.1 will still access the 50.2. Now if I apply on this serial interface, then again the same problem. The whole network of this side will be blocked. So it will access the 50 network. It will also not able to access this 30 network and any other network we have on this side. So it is not used to access. It is not useful to apply it on here. Now if I apply it on router 1 and if I apply on this interface, again the same problem. The whole network of this side will be blocked for this 10.1, and if it has any other port to go from there, then it can again reach the network. It can reach this 50.2 from the other side. Now if I apply the list on this interface, then what happened? The whole world for this 10.1 will be blocked. That means it cannot go outside of this network. It will always remain in this network. Whenever it try to go out and try to enter the fast Ethernet port, it will be denied, and it will not only it will not access 50, it will not access 30, it will not access 40, it will not access 20 and any other network. So the whole world will be blocked for this 10. So where is the good position or the interface or the router to apply the standard list? It is the destination. It is the nearest router of the destination, and that is router 3, and the nearest port of that destination, which is this port. So what happened in this case when you apply here? So 10.1 can go everywhere in the world, everywhere, any network, everywhere, but when it try to exit from this interface to go to this 50.2, it will be blocked. Now it will not only be blocked for the 50.2, it will be blocked for the whole 50 network, but we cannot do anything else. This is the last thing we can do, and that is why I said that we should not normally we don't use the standard list. So it will do what? It will block the whole 50 network for that source. So whenever we want to apply the standard list, so the guideline is that to apply the standard list to the nearest router of the destination and the nearest interface of the destination. Now for extended list. Now in extended list, what we do? First we mention source and destination both. That means we mention the source IP address and also we mention the destination IP address. Then also we mention the particular protocol also. So if we say telnet, then telnet will be blocked and the other protocol will still work. And if we say destination IP is 50.2, so only 50.2 will be blocked, not 50.1, 50.3, the whole 50 network can be allowed, but only this IP will be blocked. So in extended list we have a flexibility to block a particular source to particular destination and a particular protocol only. So we don't have to block everything here. In standard list we have a problem that everything is blocking, but here we can only block that particular thing. Now this list we can apply anywhere. That means I can apply on the source nearest to the destination router, I can apply to this router too, I can apply to the near to the source also, I can apply to this interface, I can apply to this interface, I can apply to this interface, I can apply this interface, I can apply this interface. Now I can apply anywhere on the router and anywhere any of these interfaces, because it will not block anything. It will block only the particular source to destination and the particular protocol. So everything will not be blocked, everything will still work, everything will still work as it is, only that particular source and destination and the defined protocol will be blocked. Now still we have a guideline for extended list, and the guideline says that for the extended list we should be applied that extended list to the nearest router of the source, in this case router 1, and the nearest interface of the source. So the standard list should be applied to the nearest to the destination, and the extended list should be applied nearest to the source. Now why I am saying nearest to the source? Because I said you can apply anywhere, you will not have any problem, but still I am saying nearest to the source, because for example I apply it here. For example, this is not right, but I applied it on the near to the destination like standard. So what happened here? Remember, it will check source and destination and the protocol both. Now the data is going from this source and it is entering into this router from this interface. Now it is not blocking here. Now the router has to process the data. It has to process the data, then it has to forward the data to router 2. Now router 2, the data will enter from here, and then router 2 will process the data, and then it will exit the data from this interface. Still it will not block. Then the router 3, it will send to router 3. Router 3, it will enter into this interface. It will still not block. Then the router 3 will process the data. It will decide whether it is to be forwarded or not, and something it is to be routed or not by using the routing table and everything. Now after doing everything, after processing everything, when it tries to send the data on this interface, now the list is applied here. So it will check the list and it will say the source and destination and the protocol, it is matching, and now it is denying here. Now what is the problem here? The data is to be blocked, it is not to be transferred, but still it is using the whole resources from the source to destination. It is using the whole resources. It is using the whole bandwidth of the cable. It is using the whole processing power of the router 1, router 2, router 3 also. And then finally it is going to be blocked. Now if it is going to be blocked, then what is the benefit of processing the data in everywhere? Why we allow the data to use these slow WAN links? Why? So the best idea is to block it on the source. So when we apply the list here on the nearest source port, then what happens? As soon as the data tries to enter here, if the data is for this source and destination and the protocol, then it will be denied directly here, and it will not use any resources of these routers and any bandwidth of these WAN links and all these links. So the good idea is to disable apply the list directly on the nearest to the source, and it will be blocked. Now you will say, when we use the standard list and we apply the standard list on the destination, then still it is using the whole processing power of all these network and routers. But because that is the standard list and the way standard list work, we have to do that. And it will use all the resources of routers and network. And again, I have told that I have said again that is why normally we don't use standard list. So normally we use, or mostly we use extended list. Extended list put some pressure, some load on router for processing, but it will do the proper job. So before creating the list or applying the list, we have to consider, or we have to make sure that where we should apply the list. Now, how we can create the list? So creating the standard list. So I will show you how we can create the standard list to block any host. So these are the commands to create the standard list. So let's see how we can do that, how we can configure the standard list. Let's see this. So this is our network. We have this 10 network here, 30, 40, 50 and 70 here. Now I will try to first ping from this machine to this 70. So I will ping 70.0.0.1. And okay, I'm getting the reply, that means they are connected. I will try to ping this 70.2 also. And now (72) 70.0.0.2. Okay, it is not sending reply. Okay, it is not having a gateway right. The gateway is wrong here. It is 100. Okay, now it will also ping. So this is also pinging. And also these other networks, we have 30 and 50. So I can ping 50.1. I'm pinging it 50.2. Yes, I can ping. And also I can ping network 30.1. And 30.2. Now you see this network 10.0.0.1 machine, it can ping all the networks here, network 30, network 50, network 70, because it is connected from all these networks. Now I want to block this machine which is having IP of 10.0.0.1 to access this machine 70.0.0.2. So that means this is my source and this is my destination. So this machine is my source here, and this machine is my destination. Now I want to apply standard list. So I have to apply it near to the destination router and near to the destination interface. So the destination router is this router 4. So I will create the list here, and the destination nearest interface is this fast Ethernet interface, and I can apply the router, the list on this interface. So let's see how we can create it. So I will open this router and I will go to configure terminal. Now first I am going to create the numbered list. Name list I will show you next time. Now numbered list and standard list. Now for creating the standard list, first you have to make sure the sequence. So when we give the statements, remember we can create number of list, and in every list we can have number of entries, number of statements. So when the router checks the list, it checks the statement 1 to statement 10. That means it will start from the up to bottom, and it will start matching the statement from top to bottom. Now if the statement matches, then it will apply the statement, and if it is not matches, then it will look for the other statement. So when you try to create the access list, so the sequence is also very important. For example, I want to deny this 10.1, but I want to allow other machines from this network. So what I will create the list. So if I say, remember I want to allow the whole network 10, and I want to only block this one. So if I create the list like this, let's say I create allow the whole network 10. So I say 10.0.0.0, the whole network I want to allow. So I say allow the whole network, and the next entry I say deny host 10.0.0.1. Now in this case, what happened? The list will fail. What happened when this 10.2 goes? Suppose this 10.2 wants to go from the list, so it will check the list from top to bottom, remember? So it will match whether it is network 10 or not. So if 10.2 comes, it is network 10. So what it will do? It will allow. It will not check the second entry. Remember, it will not check the second entry. Now if this machine comes, remember I have to deny this, and I have given the entry to deny. Now when this machine comes, so router will check the list top to bottom. So first it checks whether the entry, whether it is matching network 10 or not. So this one is also network 10. So it will match here. So it will do what? It will allow. It will not check the other entry which says deny that machine, deny that 10.0.0.1, because first entry says it allows. So this is the wrong sequence. So what if we want to do the same thing? So first we have to say deny. We have to put deny this 10.1, 10.0.0.1. Then we have to put the entry to allow the network 10. So that means what? Whenever this 10.0.0.1 comes, so it will check the list top to bottom, and the first entry will match, and it will do what? Deny. When the other machine comes, suppose 10.2, so it will check the first entry will not match, so it will check the second entry, and it will say network 10, and it will match, and then it will allow the other network IPs. So the sequence is important to create the list, any list, whether it is standard or extended. So we can say like important entries must come first, then all the allow entries should come second. So first deny entries should come first, then allow entries should come last. Now if you have not mentioned any entries, then remember there is deny all, implicit entry is there, and it will deny everything. So only deny, remember only deny will not work. If I say deny 10.1, deny 10.40, deny 10.30, then fine. Then what? It will not work, because deny, no allow. So all will be deny. So if you don't allow anyone, that means deny all is already there. So giving deny to a particular machine will not work. Like you deny 10.1, deny 10.40, deny 10.30. But it will check all these. Now if suppose 10.70 comes, there is no entry for that. So it will do what? Deny all, implicit deny. So you have to add at least one allow entry. for some network or from for any. You can give permit any also, so allow or for allowing everyone. So how we will create this? So we are on the destination router. So the command is access list. Then we can use these numbers 1 to 99 for standard and these numbers for extended. And the number means what? We can create this number of list. We can create 99 list of standard. We can create 99 standard list. But on single interface, we can apply only one. Others will remain in the router. It will not use that list until we apply it. So on the interface, we can apply single list, but we can create this number of list. Now, I want to create the standard list, so I will give number 1 here. We can give either number 1 or 99, in between 99. Now as soon as I mention number 1, my router understands that I want to create the standard list. So when I give a question mark, so it will give me the option related to standard list. So it is saying you want to deny or permit. So remember we said first we should deny all important entries, then we should allow. So I say deny. Now who I want to deny? So in this case we can mention host for a single particular host. We can mention host keyword, or we can mention IP address of the host with wildcard mask. Or if we want to mention the network, then again we have to mention the network IP with wildcard. Remember to give wildcard. Or if we want to allow any, then we can give any. Any means all. So first I want to deny a single host. So I will use host command. So I will say host, and then it is asking what is the host address. So host address is 10.1. Now when I give any question mark, it says no other options you want to give. So this is my first entry. It says deny for this single host. Now if we check the design here, so we are applying the list on this interface of router 4. Now here in this interface, not only this 10.1 will come, this 30.1, 30.2 will also come, 50.1, 50.2 will also come, and any other also comes. So we can create the list for these IPs or these machines also. So we have to mention the information about these interfaces also. Otherwise, they will be denied by the implicit deny all. So we have to mention we have to give a statement to allow or deny for these other networks also, because we are creating here on the destination, and in this it can be used to this other IPs also. So now in this case I will do what? I will deny this 30.1 also, and I want to allow this whole 30 and 50 networks. So what I will do here, my second statement will be access list 1 deny. Now again I want to allow the single host, that is 30.0.0.1. So the one way to give a host name, host IP, by using the host command, or we can use directly the IP of that machine also. But when you use IP address, then you have to see, when I give a question mark here, you have to use the wildcard mask also. Otherwise, if you press enter, you see it is saying you can press enter also instead of giving wildcard mask. But when you don't give a wildcard mask, it will take this wildcard. So you can give the wildcard, or you don't want, then you should not give. But when you don't give a wildcard mask, it will take this wildcard. Remember, it will take this. Now this means what? 0.0.0 means I want to examine the whole single IP. So either I can mention the single host by using this, or I can give a IP of the single host directly without wildcard. Now when I don't give wildcard, it will still work as a single host. Now when you allow, now I want to allow the network 10. Now remember, whenever you want to mention the network, then you have to give the wildcard. Remember, you have to give the wildcard. Otherwise, if you press directly enter, then what happens? It will take this wildcard. And this wildcard means it says the exact IP must be matched. And this IP will never match, because this means what? A network address, and no machine, no host will have the network address, so it will never match. And that means what? It will not permit any one of 10, because the entry is wrong. So whenever you give a network address, you have to mention the wildcard. Now this is network 10, so the subnet mask is what? 255.0.0.0. So I will use the reverse, and it will become 0.255.255.255. Now I want to allow the other networks also, like 30 and 50. So I will mention access list permit 30.0.0.0. Again I have to mention the wildcard. If we miss the wildcard, let's do the wrong entry. So I will add the network 50 also, but this time I will not give the wildcard, and I will directly press enter. Now you will see what it will. It will misconfigure. And now I will check the access list. Remember, still we have not applied. We check the list, show IP access list. Now what it says here, that we have assigned the standard IP access list number 1. Now the entries, check the entries, deny 10, deny host 30. I have mentioned this host as a host command, and this one I have mentioned directly IP, but still it takes it as a host. Why? Because it goes with the default wildcard, which is 0.0.0. Now next I said permit network 10 with wildcard, so it is taking it as a network. Permit network 30, it is also taking it as a network. Now this one is wrong. Here I said allow network 50, but I did not mention the wildcard. Now what happened here? It take it as a host, and it feels like this is the host IP. But remember, this is network IP, and no host will get this IP. You cannot assign IP, this network IP, to any host. So this entry will never match. Now what happened? If this entry will not match, that means the last entry will match. Now the entry is not showing here, that is deny all. That is called implicit deny. So it will basically deny the whole network of 50 because it is not matching. But what I am feeling here, I am feeling that I have mentioned the network here to permit, and it must be permitted, but it will not permit. Right now it is working, and we can check it because still we have not applied the list. So we can check it that these 50 machines can do access the network 70. And we can see these machines can still access network 70, but after when I apply the list, they will not able to access. Now this one is still accessing also, because still we have not applied the list. So it is still accessing, but after applying the list it will not access. So now for applying the list, what I said, that nearest to the destination, that is this interface. So we will go to the router here, and the list number is 1. So first I will go to that interface. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Now here I will give command IP access group. This is the command to apply the access list. Then if you have created the numbered list, then you will mention the number, and if you have created the name list, then you will mention the name. This time we have created the numbered list, and the number is 1, and that is what? Standard list. So I will mention number 1. Now after mentioning the list name or number, you have to mention that you want to do the list, you want to apply the list for the inbound traffic or outbound traffic. Now to get this, you have to check the design, that how in this interface the traffic will go out or in. Now remember, it is coming from this source and it is going to this destination, so it always be enter into this serial interface, and it will always exit from this fast Ethernet. So it will be outbound traffic. So which traffic we have to filter? Outbound. Remember, if I mistakenly configure inbound, so it will never match, because whatever the traffic in from this interface, they will always have the source address of 70. They will not have the destination address as 70. So those lists will not apply. So what I will do here, I will say here out. Now the list is applied, and now we can check here. And now when I check this, can I ping this machine now? So I can check this, and now you can see it says destination host unreachable. And who is saying this? The reply is coming from this router, router 4, and it is saying that you can't go there. And now not only 70.2, I cannot access 70.1 also. The whole network is blocked for this 10.1, but this 10.2 can access both the machines, 70.1 also and 70.2 also. It is accessing 70.1 also, and it is accessing 70.2 also, because in the list we have mentioned the source address of 10.1, and we allowed all the other network all the other IPs of network 10. And same as here, network 30, this 30.1 is denied, but the other 30 network is allowed. So if I try to ping it from 30.1, it is saying destination host unreachable. But when I tried from the 30.2, I can ping, because we have allowed the whole network of 30. We have allowed the whole network of 30. But the problem is here. From this 50, I have allowed the whole 50 network, but I made the wrong entry. So previously it was pinging. Now when I try, it is saying destination host unreachable. 4 packets are sent and there is no reply. Why? Because the problem is the wrong entry we did on router. The wrong entry. Now when you check the access list, you can see here 8 packets matched here, which is denied. 4 packets matched here, which is denied. 8 packet matched here, which is allowed. 4 packets matched here, which is allowed, but no packet matched here, and it will never match. We tried it from 50.1, but it is not matching here in the list, and when it is not matching, it is getting the implicit deny. So whenever you configure the list, you have to mention the wildcard mask with the network address. And if you are mentioning the single IP, you can mention directly IP, or you can mention it with the host keyword. So this is the standard list, and this is how we can configure the standard list. And these are some important things to be noted and to be take care when you configure the standard access list.